So we had some shifts this week, and in a big way as well. For the first time in a long time, Canada chose Canada. A few days ago, Canada made a major shift by moving away from the automatic loyalty that we had to the United States and towards decisions based on what's actually best for Canada. Fisheries, canolas and peas, and China EVs. All of it moved in a direction that benefits Canada and Canada only, not the United States of embarrassment. Yeah, I'm going to continue to steal that one. Today, I'm going to go over a report where the BC fisheries industry react to the new deal and what it's going to mean moving forward. I'm also going to show you a video from a guy I honestly can't figure out. I can't tell if he's for the United States or against it. I mean, he made an ad that I thought was actually great, but anytime the auto industry comes up, he suddenly turns into a US bootlicker. I don't get it. I'm not really a politics guy, and I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm still trying to learn. But maybe some of you in the comments can help me understand Doug Ford. I also have a report out of Maine. This one's for the people who think that Maine, Washington, New Hampshire, Vermont, and any other blue border state should become the 11th province, because I completely disagree with that. And this video will show you why. We'll get into this report later in the video. Today's backdrop comes from Brianna in our Discord server. She sent in this photo near Kingston, Ontario. I'll be honest, it looks really cold to me. And I think my body's actually getting used to the warmer climates, because I'm not sure how I'd survive the Canadian winters anymore. And don't forget, I'm from Vancouver, so I wouldn't be able to deal with the minus 30, minus 40, minus 20. But thanks for sending this in, Brianna. Now, before I jump in, one of our Blue Sky viewers tagged me in his post, and it shows the travel patterns for Australians visiting the United States versus Canada. You can clearly see the point where Australians started hesitating. And around July, it looks like they collectively said, yep, we're going to start avoiding the United States. But here's the interesting part. The yellow line represents Canada, and it keeps growing, and it keeps going up. So I want to say thank you to all of our Australian cousins for supporting the Canadian economy by spending your money in Canada and visiting our country. I'll be returning the favor in Q4 when I make my trip to Brisbane as well as the Gold Coast. All right, let's get to the first report out of my home province, British Columbia.
It hasn't been smooth sailing for BC fishermen since China imposed a 25% tariff on seafood products last year.
It's been brutal, and it's not just for the fishermen, it's for the entire supply chain.
Welcome. With Prime Minister Carney's new deal resulting in China removing those tariffs from canola meal, lobsters, crab, and peas from March to at least the end of this year, things could be looking up for BC's fishing industry.
Now, one thing I do know is that the Chinese love their seafood. On a trip I took to Shanghai before COVID, I remember seeing restaurants selling seafood from Canada. There were signs everywhere. At the time, I thought it was pretty cool to see our seafood overseas. Yes, it was being sold at a premium price, but it makes sense because it has to be imported. So opening up this market again is definitely going to be a positive. Not just for one region, but for the fisheries industry on both coasts.
It's been weathering a storm that has been waiting for a break like this to occur.
Chevelle, a commercial fisherman, hopes calmer waters are ahead.
The promised tariff relief means that it's going to restore viability to those fisheries.
In exchange for allowing up to 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles into Canada, China will slash its duties on Canadian canola seed to 15% by March 1st.
Canola is an incredibly important crop for us up here.
Malcolm Odermatt, a canola farmer located near Fort St. John, says this is the news many BC farmers have been waiting for.
This is great news. It's really unfortunate that we had to have this year of reduced prices and demand, but hopefully things will get back up.
So we just heard from two people in two different industries, both of which were affected by Canada's previous automatic loyalty to the United States. And now, both are saying this change is going to be a big positive to their industries. I didn't like that we automatically did things for the United States, but I do like that we fixed it. There's absolutely no reason for Canada to remain loyal to the United States moving forward. I mean, the bloated orange guy is threatening to take over Greenland, and he's not ruling out by doing it by force. He also threatened other countries, Canada, Mexico, Cuba, Panama. So in my very non-expert opinion, we should be cutting as many ties as possible and reversing any other automatic loyalty decisions we made for the United States in the past.
And with strained relations with our neighbors to the south, trade and tariff experts say this new deal is essential.
I think there is an understanding that we need to move forward in the face of what's happening with the United States.
While Chevelle says this is a step in the right direction, he's waiting for things to play out.
We're hoping that fisheries aren't playing a role as a bargaining chip with respect to EVs and steel.
Demetra Marigo, CTV News, Vancouver.
This is just my gut instinct and my opinion, but I don't think the fisheries and canola industries were used as bargaining chips. Personally, I feel these deals are positive for both sides. And the main thing is, both Canada and China know that there's a clown show running the United States right now. And because of that, both countries need to think for themselves. And loyalty to the US, that's out the door. I'm actually kind of excited for Canada to start seeing the China EVs. The BYD EVs are actually really nice. I've sat in quite a few of them using rideshare here. And like I mentioned in my previous video, they feel solid. I used the door test. And I was actually glad to see people in my comments knew exactly what I was talking about. I'm not crazy. They just feel more solid than US cars. I know Europe, Australia, and New Zealand have them as well. And they're all throughout Southeast Asia. So I'm glad Canadians back home will get the chance to check them out soon. I know there's a stigma around the China cars, and I think people need to get over it. Someone told me there was the same stigma when the Japanese cars came to Canada. But look how many Japanese cars there are in Canada now. So I think you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised. And I'm sure the Australians and Europeans can vouch for it as well. Now this next guy, I really don't understand him. Sometimes he's against the United States, then he's not. Then he is again, then he's not. I don't know much about his history in Ontario, and I don't claim to. But it does seem that when it comes to the Canadian auto industry, the "we don't want to upset the US" hat suddenly comes on. I don't know. Let me just start the video.
Prime Minister Mark Carney before he made this decision in China?
Absolutely not. Didn't have any consultation. He didn't consult with any of the automakers. This is going to be terrible for not only just all the people of Ontario, but especially the auto manufacturers, the supply chain. We're letting China into a market that's going to have lower tariffs than our largest market, the U.S., and I don't think that's going to go over too well with President Trump.
This is the same guy who approved the Reagan ad to be played at the World Series, right? The same guy who in the past played the tough guy when it came to Donald Trump, and now suddenly he doesn't want to upset him. What I don't get is this. The Canadian auto industry can have plants moved out on a whim if the orange guy had a bad day. We already saw him at the Ford plant in Michigan, openly threatening to pull things out of Canada. So why is Doug Ford clinging on to this like he has some sort of personal stake or kickback in this? Am I reading this wrong? Please let me know in the comments. I'm actually genuinely curious. And a lot of you pointed out in my previous video that the Chinese EVs would only make up about 3% of the Canadian market. So it's not like it's going to kill the industry. So what exactly is he clinging on to?
But it's going to hurt every single auto manufacturer, every single supply chain that has anything to do with the auto sector. This was not thought out properly. It wasn't consulted. It was a knee-jerk reaction as far as I'm concerned. And this is going to be a big, big problem.
But the Prime Minister is simply reverting back to what was already in place in 2024. Why was it okay then, and why is it bad today?
Well, again, this is a Chinese government that doesn't respect labor laws, that doesn't respect making cars environmentally friendly, with they basically making it with coal. They're heavily subsidized, totally against all the auto workers here in Ontario and across the country. This is not a good situation for the auto sector as a whole.
And dealing with the clown show at the White House is better? The same guy who already said he doesn't need anything from Canada. The same guy who can single-handedly destroy the Canadian auto industry in favor of US cars. I don't know, maybe this is just me. But you don't go out of your way to heavily defend an auto industry built around US companies, while that same country is trying to threaten you, unless there's some kind of personal reason behind it. I'll be honest, I've had my head in the sand when it comes to Doug Ford and what he's doing for Ontario. I really don't know. But something about this just doesn't sit right with me. Now this next part, just listen to it.
You call these spy cars, but the only vehicles from China that are currently able to produce or be sold in Canada right now are Polestars and Teslas. Are those spy cars?
Well, I can put it this way. I'll be very honest. I don't trust what the Chinese put in these cars. And I'm wondering if the Americans would allow them to integrate their social media and the internet on these cars. The answer is no. And I'm convinced they won't even be allowed over the border. So there's a reason. And the intelligence agencies here in Canada and in the U.S., I'm not speaking for them, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty nervous.
I'm no expert in human behavior, but I'm pretty sure you're nervous for some reason. And did you notice something? He didn't answer the question about Teslas being built in China. Not at all. I don't know what his motive is or why he's so hell-bent on defending US car manufacturers, but the people in my comments and other creators, and even the comments in CTV and Global's videos, have made one thing clear. Canadians are ready for the Chinese EVs to enter the market. Personally, I say let the market decide. If people want more economical EVs that are better priced, why shouldn't there be competition for cars that are actually affordable? Let the people decide what they want. Now moving on to the last report I have for today. It's out of Maine, and it's probably going to disappoint and irk some of you. Let's take a look.
The possibility of additional federal agents coming to the state has many people divided.
Some saying they think it's a bad idea, while some are happy about it. Political reporter Jackie Mundry joins us live from Lewiston tonight. And Jackie, what are you hearing from people?
John, Megan, we've been in Lewiston, Auburn all afternoon and have spoke to dozens of people. Some say immigration enforcement isn't needed here, while others are welcoming the officers with open arms.
The state of Maine, which is technically a blue state, and a state that many people have said in the comments should become the 11th province. Well, if we did that, we'd be bringing in people into Canada who support ICE and what they're doing. And that's a big no for me.
Some downtown businesses also say that the news of Lewiston possibly seeing more federal agents has caused business to slow down just in the last day or two. One Lewiston man says he's lived here all his life and the city needs what he calls a good ice storm. Others say it doesn't impact them either way.
I don't have a problem with it. Nope, more the merrier. Just let them come do what they want and that'd be good.
So what's your thoughts on this guy, everyone? He wants ICE to come in and do its thing, terrorizing its own citizens, profiling people based on skin color, arresting people, and using force when it isn't justified. Maybe shooting people in the face, I don't know. But he's fine with it, and I'm pretty sure we know who this guy voted for. I'll get into my full rant at the end.
Just about everyone I spoke to on both sides of the issue say, regardless of what happens, they hope everyone stays safe.
And Jackie, before you go, do you get the sense there tonight that people are concerned about protests here in Maine reaching the same level of chaos or unrest that we've been seeing in Minnesota?
You know, John, the people I asked that question to say that they really are confident that Mainers will be respectful and follow, officers' rules while also knowing their rights in this situation.
But what about ICE? Will they follow the rule of law? Their track record isn't any good, yet people still take this nonchalant attitude towards it. Now I want to go back to this guy, because he's a perfect example of why I don't agree with anyone saying that this or that state should become the 11th province. This guy is clearly an orange guy supporter, and the state of Maine is blue, but not that blue. Many of my past reports have shown border towns struggling, but we also know that many of those struggling business owners voted for the orange guy. So no, we're not supporting those businesses. And honestly, I don't want this guy in my country. So Maine can go ahead and stay a state. Speaking of Maine, one of our viewers sent over this article about Maine and its struggling border economy. Might want to talk to the orange guy about that. It's the same usual style article, blaming tariffs, fentanyl, and yes, they do even mention the 51st state. I don't have time to read the entire article out loud for you, but there's a few screenshots I do want to show. And this part is especially for the viewers in Quebec and New Brunswick. The first screenshot shows 749,000 fewer crossings from Canada into the United States since February. That's a massive drop compared to last year. And even though the percentages only reached the mid-30s at the peak of last year, it's still more than enough to cause problems in the US border towns. When it comes to spending, it's very clear that the border towns are struggling. Shopping is down and sales are down. Old Orchard Beach is reporting up in sales, but lodging and restaurants are down. And somehow the rest of Maine is reported to be up. I'm not entirely sure about that, but more than likely the numbers are being boosted by domestic tourism. Regardless of how the overall numbers shake out, the border towns are clearly struggling. And that's directly tied to the efforts of our fellow Canadians in Quebec as well as New Brunswick. So I wanted to say thank you to our viewers in Quebec and New Brunswick for doing your part. I've been showing a lot of reports lately from Washington State, but if I get the opportunity to update the other provinces and their efforts, I absolutely will. And if anyone has any updates from your area in Canada, please send them over my way. Alright, that's all I got for today's video. If you found any value in anything I've said today, help out my channel by hitting the like and subscribe button below. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one.